Hello, my name is Keith Dagger, and I'm recording some of my memories of Preston on a CD, and this is the area where I used to live, off Deepdale. Deepdale Road is a busy road now, there's no traffic on, and but Peelo Street is where I used to live, with houses. 3 streets on the left hand side was the first street was Aberdeen Street, followed by Goulburn Street, and of course there was Gladstone Street where I used to live, off Peelo Street. But now the houses that I used to live had 3 bedrooms and a parlour, kitchen and a living room, with a fire inside the living room. There was also outside in the yard an outside toilet, but all those houses have gone. So this is where I used to live, off the Deepdale section, and it was memorable for me where I used to live, but now there is modern houses built by Gateway. Deepdale Road was famous, especially with these rows of houses. It's called Stevenson's Terrace. Stevenson Terrace goes way back to the 1800s. There weren't cars then, it was horse and carriage and well-to-do people along this stretch of Deepdale Road. People was dressed up in long dresses, bonnets. Gentlemen was wearing top hats, tails, and to do business used to be offices and places of interest for the people in the 1800s. But now, when I was a child, all these houses and offices used to be surgeries and a dentist, but of course it's all changed now. It's more like businesses, centres and offices for Asian people. But that's my memories of Deepdale Road. Before my time in the 1800s, this stretch of road used to be tram tracks from the old tram depot on Deepdale Road, which I will contact and show you later. When we lived in the streets, we couldn't play football or cricket because there was that many glass windows, and if anybody, we was always told to move by the neighbours and so forth. So off Deepdale Road was a small park, and this is it. We used to call it the Little Park, and it's all changed, the pathways they put in, but it used to be all green, 1 or 2 trees. Down at the bottom end used to be a big rock, and even a park keeper's cabin surrounded by a rock garden. But it's no longer there now. But this gives you an idea for people who know the little park on Deepdale Road. And this is Stevenson Terrace as it is today. But in the old days, it was just more than that. Outside there would be horse and carriage for people. This is what Stevenson Terrace looked like, dating back to 1849. You can tell where the ladies are dressed with long dresses and bonnets, and there was no cars, but that gives you an idea what Stevenson Terrace look like from this photograph. The former Royal Infirmary, Preston Royal Infirmary, as it was. This is what the old Preston originated. It was a small hospital for sick people to recover. But in 1870, the hospital grew to be a big one. It had a recovery room, people with operations, and of course, maternity. And this is what it looked like in 1870, a grand gesture building, but there's not much of it left now. I will show you what's left of it. This is the only part of the old building of the Preston Infirmary. Yeah, big entrance with two towers, one at either side with railings on top. But this building, what was left to the students' accommodation now. Just next to it is another part of the Preston Royal Infirmary, and that is the offices, what's left. And it is a shame really, because these old buildings have history and even got coats of arms above the entrance. So that's part of the old Preston Infirmary. Oh, you're alright, lovey. No, I'm doing in this history of Preston.
All right, no.
It's alright, no problem.
As long as I'm not in it.
Oh, you're alright. You might be a film star.
No, I don't want to be one. That's
no, you're alright, lovey. Right next door to the Preston North End is Kimberley Barracks and the recruiting offices for the army. Oh, the old Kimberley Barracks. Right next door is, of course, the Preston North End Stadium, the new one. The old stadium was green and it used to hold about 42,000 spectators. This is Moore Park, right opposite the Preston North End Stadium. When I was a kid, my mom used to bring me down here, my grandmother. But there is a bit of history about Moore Park. During the war, there was estimated about 40,000 Italian prisoners right at the far end of Garstang Road. Some of the prisoners were very friendly, apparently, I was told from my grandmother, and they used to get pieces of wood or bones and make little ornaments for children. So yeah, Preston's got a lot of history, and this is part of Moore Park. Just at this far end over here, it used to be the open air baths many years ago, but it's disappeared, of course. And then around the other side is a serpentine, which when I was a kid used to call it the duck pond, with mallard and swans, mallard duck and swans on for the kids. And we used to feed the ducks. Happy days. At the other end of Moore Park is the old shelter, which was built in 1926. And I remember this as a child, where the people, if the sun was so hot, they could shelter in the shade. But just close by, outside, used to be the old paddling pool, where children could wade. But a number of years ago, it was dismantled because people kept throwing cans and glass bottles in during the night, and it was so dangerous. This part here is the old duck pond, which is I remember as a child feeding the ducks with my mum and my grandmother. It is actually called the old Serpentine, but over a number of years it's become as Moore Park Duck Pond for the ducks on the water, and you could feed them. But they're telling us not to feed the ducks now because it draws rats, and rats kill the wildlife around. Just across the road from the duck pond on Moore Park is another hidden treasure, which probably a lot of people know about, but a lot of people might forgot about. This is Plum Pudding Hill. I remember my mum pushing me down this hill at a fast pace many years ago, and it's still here today. It is actually at the bottom of the hill. It comes on a straight, but there's a bridge where you can stop, take a break, and there's a stream that runs under the Plum Pudding Hill. So this is Plum Pudding Hill. It is historical, and a lot of people do forget about it. How it got its name, Plum Pudding Hill, no one actually knows. I think it was made up many years ago. Plum Pudding Hill. This rock bridge I remember very well when I was a child with other friends. We used to play cowboys and Indians, hide and seek, and it is in Moore Park at Garstang Road area. It is a well-known piece, and it's been here forever, as long as I can remember. These are still the rocks we used to hide around and chase each other. These brought back happy memories. Yes, it's the old rock bridge. There is a walkway across the top to lead you onto another paths on Moore Park. This end of Moore Park was noted for prisoners of war during the war, Second World War. It had over 40,000 Italian prisoners, all fenced off. But some of these prisoners got so friendly that they was making little wooden dolls and toys for the Preston people who had children. So this is the Garstang Road area, bottom end of Moore Park, where the prisoners had their camp here, a prisoner of war camp. This is Moore Park Avenue, and it comes from the Garstang Roadway down as far as Deepdale Road, and across it crosses about, it's a furlong avenue, Moore Park Avenue. So it is well known. I remember this as a child with my mum. In the avenue is some old gas lamps dating back from the Victorian era, but no longer in use. But it gives you an insight of what the old gas lamps was like. This is a very old park keeper's lodge, It dates back to the 1800s. This is what they call West Lodge, a very old stone building, and it's I remember this as a child. As I get older, I get interested in the history of Preston, what's left of it, and some of the hidden gems that people tend to forget about. So this is West Lodge. So I am heading back to town now for some more hidden gems. So this is just one of the entrances to West Lodge. This side of the entrance of Moore Park Avenue. Moore Park Avenue is still here with the old stonework and the stone balls on either side of the entrance. Moore Park Avenue and the stonework. Just at the bottom of North Road in Preston is one of the oldest pubs, the Unicorn, with the old stone brick building, very old, and I remember that when I was many years ago. But just next door to it, just a few yards up, is another old pub called the Moorbrook. This is Walker Street, Preston. This street here, Walker Street, is near where my school used to be. It's still there, but it's not used as a school as such, but I'm going to show you anyway. Snow Hill off Walker Street. Well, this is part of my school. It had a balcony with railings on, but now it's all cased in. It had classrooms on the top and the bottom of the school. This is just one side of it. This is Snow Hill, just one way to get to the other side of the school where I went to, Trinity. Well, this is the other part of the school where I finished up. Trinity School was one of many schools with 3 playgrounds. You started in primary school, and then you went into junior school, and you ended up on this side, which was the seniors. The brickwork is still brand new practically, but all the classrooms have been cased in. There was a reason for this, because the school closed down in 1986. The classrooms was boxed in to house overseas visitors, and all the classrooms are cased in now so they could house the overseas visitors. And that was my school, but no longer. I remember it well. This car park here, directly opposite the school I went to, Trinity, was a church called Trinity Church. I remember this church being knocked down in 1958-59. But there's nothing left of it now, only a car park, except some gates belonging to Trinity Church. The gates are still standing. This is the only thing that's left now of Trinity Church, the old gates and the steps. But the church is no longer there now. I remember this when I was very young. It's an old tram stop, and it's still in use today. And this goes back to the 1800s when the trams used to run through Preston, especially up this stretch, Black Bull Lane. It's green in colour and it's been here for years and years, from the early 1800s when the trams were running. This shelter is still in use today as a bus stop. So there you are, the old tram stop. Now I'm back in the town centre and I'm just looking at the old Lawson Street police station. This is at the side of the market. It used to be the old police station. You could tell by the bars on some of the windows there. But that's the old police car yard. Now when I was younger, the police cars was all black Vauxhalls. These are some more landmarks that I remember when I was a child. Of course, it's the Irish Library and the old cenotaph. These are landmarks that I remember many years ago. But in the far corner is a well-known place when I was a teenager, meeting your boyfriends and girlfriends in the Miller Arcade, just in the far corner there. So we're going to have a look inside the Miller Arcade for its and I'll tell you how it used to look. Well, this is the Miller Arcade in the town centre. Just in this square here used to be a kiosk where they used to sell cigarettes, sweets, chocolates, but it's disappeared now. The last few years it's been refurbished, and the Miller Arcade is now decorated with terracotta and cream tiles. The terracotta tiles and the cream tiles come from Italy, and but some of the old shop window frames are still here, but it's all changed because it was well known for different shops. It was well known in the 50s and 60s. Down at the left hand side here, the Miller Arcade, I think it was 1950, 1960, that a film was being made in the Miller Arcade, and it was about a man who fell in love with a lady, and it was filmed in this part here on the left hand side. The film was a black and white film, and I just forgot the stars, the main stars, but Thora Hird, a well-known TV personality, was in the film. The film was called A Kind of Loving. So this is what the Miller Arcade looks like now today. It's all changed. Just where the black tiles are down here used to be sets of rails. There were cast iron rails painted black and so forth. So these are my memories of Preston when I was a younger. We used to meet here in the old Miller Arcade here around about 7 o'clock, when we had our winkle pickers, jeans and leather jackets and t-shirts, picking up our girlfriends or boyfriends. Miller Arcade was a memorable place for me when I was younger. Now I'm at the other side of town. In fact, I'm at the Docklands. This is Preston Dock. It was known as the Albert Edward dock, and it was the biggest single European dock at its time. All the buildings across the way used to be the old warehouses where the ships at the side of the dock would tie up, and he could get about 20 ships at a time. The goods that was coming from different parts of the world, banana boats coming in, which belonged to the Geese line. There used to be about 2 or 3 ships a week with bananas from the West Indies tied up at the side of the ship, the dock. The ships would be white or cream in color, and they used to call them the White Swans. So yes, it brings back a lot of memories. It was a busy port at its time with different transport companies. Anglo-Continental, which picked up container from container ships. There was also BRS, which was the British Road Services, which would pick up goods and deliver to different parts of the UK, Scotland, England and Wales and so forth. And of course there was other transport companies like Northern Ireland Trailers, who used to bring the Irish bacon across and other goods. So yes, it's got a lot of history. I remember the first ever submarine to appear down at the bottom end here, and it was open for a week for children to have a look round in the submarine. It was very compact and very enclosed. But this is my memories of Preston, how it was. You can still see today the old capstans, which the boats used to come alongside and get tied up on these capstans. It was during the wartime, just after the war, the Americans were still over here, and they wanted to build a bigger and better estuary. In fact, they wanted to build a canal. But just after the war, when they went to see the council, and after the war, the answer was, no, you can't do it, because it's just after the war and there's no money. Otherwise, you would have got bigger ships up this way. But in the far distance, you can see the overhead crane that used to be, as I remember, a container crane. It used to lift the containers of certain ships. I remember this lighthouse when I was a kid, but it's been painted since. It used to be a reddish color, as I remember it. But now this lighthouse has got a shop attached to it now, a boutique of some kind. But I remember this when I was a child, when I came in this area with my mum walking around the docks. So these are just some of my memories of Preston.
That's Fernando's.
The wall.
South Africa with a Portuguese feel.
This is really weird. This is in the continent. Oh, this dog. When you stand back, it looks like a dog with a French dog on it. And this is probably
Your house in there. Put your house in there again. Yeah, for sure. We can put a crown on it.
We don't want boring stuff like Island Hair, we want interesting things. Well, it's just not very interesting.
Look, he's saying it's clean, so we could draw a crown where his house is.
Who is it? So it could be...
This is some of the artwork that Jan and Chris had set up in a shop in Preston, and this is just some of the works of Preston. Old photographs, people donating poems, write-ups about Preston in the past, the old shops, paintings, drawings, which is, I think, is fantastic. If more people did more of this kind of stuff in other parts of Lancashire or anywhere, memories of Preston, well, my memories go back, and I've already started this film. So just to fill in, I've just started in the shop here. I think it's a good idea that some of the work that's going on
Someone's put here that the lack of annotation is due to the fact that photocopiers come into town, so they have to go to the shop.
some of the work that's been donated from people of Preston, and some of the old photographs, pictures of Preston, which I've recognised and do remember from my childhood.
The other fella came in, turns out he's a pagan, and they drew a dragon there. Oh, is he pagan? Yeah, he's a pagan. You wouldn't really know he was a pagan, so look at it, would you?
Some of the art pictures are absolutely fantastic.
My granddad was a doctor in Liverpool, and he got tarantulas home more than once.
You know, I think it was, I don't know who it was, but I think it was like Terry.
Yeah.
Him and his friends used to go down there.
Some of the art is fantastic,
Tarantulas out.
donated by people.
Something like that.
Have we got that information?
So yes,
Maybe it could be added.
this art centre, which Chris and Jan are running in the shop, closes down. The last day is Thursday, and we hope to get as many people as possible. From 5 o'clock till 8, there's a celebration. It seems like I've got my own wall. It's the Keith wall. I've donated a lot of things for Jan and Chris. My memories of Preston, photographs, posters, and so forth.